So after Tuesday night, Martin Gray spoke to us on BBC Radio Yorkshire about the dressing room being extremely down. How have you gone about picking things up?
Well, you have to do. You know, you come in on obviously yesterday off. I didn't get back till latest, shall we say, on Tuesday night, stroke Wednesday morning. So all you can do is positive. You've got to pick them back up and get them back at it. As you can see out there, we've just been talking about the atmosphere's all right. You know, they're out there playing table tennis, so they're not sulking or feeling sorry for yourselves. That's the worst thing you can do. So as a management team, you've got to come in, be nice and bright, get them smiles on the faces if you can. Obviously, we're not happy with the way things are going, but you know that's done. We've got to look forward to today and tomorrow and preparing the team for Saturday, and that's all you can do.
I guess that's the worst thing you can do, isn't it? Dwell on it when you've got so many big games still to play this season.
Well, we have to look at it obviously and look at the highlights and try and find answers to start get back to winning ways. But and certainly from a mood and around the camp, you have to be positive. There's no point being negative because that just builds on and a dark cloud hangs over the place. But no, as soon as we come in, it's gone. Let's get on with it and start fresh.
So have you looked at it? Have you found any answers?
Well, we're going to have to keep looking for different answers. You know, we talked about different scenarios today, which we don't want to give too much about. Obviously, the games be coming up, but there'll be something different. Young Alex Chemist has trained today, so that's good news. He's a bit of a physical presence that we've been lacking up the top, and he's a good player as well, and he's fresh and he's hungry. So he's trained today, so hopefully he comes through that okay. With obviously tomorrow and Saturday in mind. So we're delighted to have him in. Simon Heslop's back training, so he's another body that comes back, and that just gives a bit of a freshness that wasn't there, from Tuesday, that they wasn't at the game, and so they've got a freshness and that newness, if you like, to come back in and make an impression.
I guess at this stage of the season, because the transfer window's closed to start with, plus the fact you've only got a fortnight left, you must be quite limited in what you can do, what you can work with at the moment.
Well, we said the other day, I think it was the last time I spoke to you, was that it was literally the day after the window shut that John got injured, and then 2 or 3 days after that, Louis and Alex went down. So timing wasn't great. We thought we were okay in that department, but obviously with the 2 or 3 injuries, then we've been struggling injury-wise up the top, and you need it up the top for it to stick, to have a base, to get a goal, to give you something to build on, to give you something to hang on to. One slight mistake, as we saw from a set play on Tuesday, ends up getting you beat. So it's important that we get something in up the pitch that helps the rest of the team. And hopefully we've got that in the building with what we've got, and with Alex coming back for Saturday.
The young players have been given a chance the last couple of matches, Flynn McNaughton especially, but Finney Steele's getting on the other night as well. From your point of view, how do you feel about putting them in such a situation with so much pressure on the last few games?
Well, there is pressure, but sometimes as a youngster you don't realise it. I think sometimes the pressure can get to older ones, if you like, when they know what's on the game. The youngsters are still making their way in the game, and they're fresh and they're new, and they want to do well, and they can see a little opening, shall we say, and they both got on, 16 and 17-year-old got on the other night. Then again, they both played the next day as well, so that's all part of their learning, development, being in and around the first team experience. Depending on how much game time they get, certainly being in and around us for the last 6 weeks, they'll stand them in good stead for the future. So there's no right and wrong time. As I spoke earlier, Connor Smith and Flynn McNaughton starting the next game would have probably been too much. So you've got to gauge them, and if they're doing well, then stick them in and see how they do.
Do you think some of the senior players have suffered with that weight of expectation, probably because of the situation and trying to help the younger players through?
I'm not sure in terms of helping the youngers through. The expectation level's there on all of us. It comes with the territory of being in a club of this size at this level. I had it at Doncaster, Doncaster in the conference. The expectation level's there, so it's something they have to get used to, and if they can't, then they don't want to be at this club.
Did you see anything from the reserves game? I know it was quite a young team. Did you see anything from there that might just put pressure on 1 or 2 selection issues? Well,
don't get me wrong, they were a very young side as well. It was probably an under 17 stroke under 18s team at best that was playing out there. So the main thing was to have a look at the ones that's possibly got a chance of being with us next year, giving Ryan Whitley game time because he's come back from Whitby, and Luke has been playing in the reserve. So it was nice. Ryan's going to play the remainder of the games. To get lights gone on, to get game time and experience with a view for next season. And obviously Flynn, Flynn's playing for the contract. Young Vinny's looking for contracts. There's 4 or 5 of them in there that's looking for contracts next year. So this gives us the opportunity to look at the other side of the coin. Is them 2 are on the bench on Saturday. So I think Vinny probably got an hour yesterday, and Flynn got 70 minutes yesterday. So obviously they've come off in the game under manager's instructions with a view for Saturday.
Playing for contracts for next year, obviously there's still that uncertainty off the field going on, which we've chatted about. Do you think that's playing on the mind of any of the players?
I'd like not to think so. You know, they've been, as I've said, the budget's there till the end of the season. You know, most people's main worry is that they're getting paid come the end of the month. That's not an issue. That's going to happen. As I said, the budget's in there till the end of the season, so they shouldn't worry about that. There's a number of people that's out of contracts. They need to be getting their finger out, for a better word of it, if they want to be here next year, and the manager's got to make decisions on that. So again, it's how well they do between now and this season, how well we do as a club between now and this season will dictate what happens in terms of contracts at the end of the season.
So looking at the squad, you mentioned about Heslop back in training, Alex Kempster as well.
Yep.
Alex Pattison?
Not yet, we're waiting to hear from Middlesbrough. I think the physio's going to speak to them this afternoon once he's trained. He's been training with the physio, so the physio's going to speak to his counterpart at Middlesbrough and find out when he is. I don't think it's a million miles away, so maybe we might have him back tomorrow with a view from training. But again, the last thing we need him to do is come back and break down and end up going back to Middlesbrough. So again, we have to be careful. We know we want them all back in the team as quick as possible, but you still have to manage it properly, and there's no point sticking somebody on for 20 minutes and then him being out for the rest of the season. So again, with Alex, you know, if he does play, then for me, maximum he's probably going to end up is playing an hour, because then fatigue will become an issue with his injury.
So still tight on numbers, although one or two bodies back. Are you in a position to look at maybe tinkering anything for this weekend?
Yeah, as I said, you know, we've had a chat, and the manager will work a few things tomorrow on the training pitch. We'll have a little bit of a shape, as we normally do on Friday against the youth team, and try and put a few ideas in place. So
looking at your opponents this weekend, Gainsborough, teams with a lot to fight for this weekend, both yourselves and them.
They have, yeah, and it's, you know, many times you've heard me say, you know, whatever's on the game, it's York City to come in there, and you know, teams raise their games, players raise their standards to play against us. It's no different. We've got to get used to that. But you're right, they're needing points for different reasons to us. So there's obviously something on the game. It's not just a dead rubber at the end of the season and playing a testimonial, if you like. So this is what you want to be involved in. You want to be at the right end trying to achieve something.
You've always got to be wary of teams like that at this stage, haven't you? They are literally scrapping for their lives.
Yeah, very much so. And I think we've got Leamington coming up, and they're not. I'm not sure if they're 100% safe. FC Manchester in that kind of area again, but more importantly, it's us that's coming to their place. They want to do well against us, but the reverse of it is that we need points to make sure we stay in the playoffs and sort of try and guarantee a playoff.
So a game on Tuesday as well. Just put into context, how big a week is this for York City?
Yeah, massive. You know, it's counting down. If we want to extend it into May, then we've got to pick some points up. There's no two ways about it. Saturday's a massive game for us. We need to try and get 3 points, keep us in the playoffs. And try and build on that, get some momentum, try and get a few of these players back that we've been talking about, and try and get a little bit of momentum ready for the playoffs.
Thank you very much.
Is the away form a bit of a concern now? You've got 1 point out of 15.
Yeah, I mean,
if you're looking for a reason for that, do you think teams raise their game, or do you think it's the mentality thing here as well in terms of going to them small grounds?
I think, as I said before, the teams do raise their games against us, and it's invariably one of the bigger crowds that they're going to have that season, and players are human. They want to raise a game against our players, because I know there's some good players in there, and they're doing that. And I felt obviously the other day their front two caused more problems than our front players did, and that was the difference in the game. So it was a scrappy, awful game from where I was sat watching the bobbly pitch. But in terms of the away form, yeah, I think the last time we won was at Telford, and that was a great performance in the 5-3. So we've got it in us. I don't think it's necessarily where we're going to. I just think it's how we start the game, and how we play during the game, obviously. But we're lacking that element up front that can, a bit of physical presence, if you like, that can hold the ball up for us and enable us to get out as a team.
Yeah, because if it comes to the playoffs, it's going to be decided by away form.
Yes, yeah. So we've got to get some of that. Yeah, as I said, you know, Saturday is a massive game. And that could kickstart the results in terms of being away from home. But I don't see it being it's not sort of out there, certainly not from my point of view, that it's a massive problem. No.
Lovely. Cheers, Dave.
So in terms of your new role as director,
yeah,
I've got to ask, has there been any interest in purchasing the club so far?
Well, we've said this many times, we wouldn't declare anything. It's in terms of the word of it, commercial side of it, then we can't declare whether there's 1 or 100. if there's one, it'll drive the price down. If there's 101, it'll drive the price up. So as a club, we can't really get involved in that in terms of who's coming. Come the 30th of April, we'll have a better decision if anybody has come in and made an offer for the club.
In terms of like next season, has there been any kind of plans in terms of scouting for next season?
I think that's ongoing, yeah. As I said earlier, we've got a plan for next season in terms of recruitment, in terms of what league we may be in. Might be two lists, Conference North and Conference, and obviously that again, we can't really push anything forward until we know what the budget's going to be.
Right. And if City don't make the playoffs at the end of the season, what will that mean for Martin Gray's kind of job? Will that put pressure on him, maybe not being here next season?
No, so he's got a contract, I believe, till end of next season. So nothing changes with that. We're trying to build as a club. I think, personally, from my point of view, there's been too many chopping and changes in terms of the management halfway through the season. I think Jackie left and Gary came in, and then Gary came in, and then Martin's come in. So in terms of recruitment, then you're recruiting during the season. You end up having 4 teams in 2 seasons and costing you a fortune, or the chairman a fortune, to back the manager. So I would like to think that we need a bit of continuity, and with Martin, you know, he's a hard worker, and he's got the history of getting winning teams and getting promotions. So in my opinion, we should stick with that.
And in terms of you wanting to improve the matchday experience, have you got anything more to say about that?
No, it's just obviously I saw that game on the Saturday from a different view, different perspective, shall we say. It's not going to be overnight. We just try and tweak it and try and make it. We've only got one league home game left, so there won't be massive changes with that. But I think if we can just try and get little bits of elements and get in, and don't get me wrong, it will come gradually, but once we get to the new stadium, then that's when, you know, we'll have a better sound system and we can organise better. We've got better corporate facilities and better match sponsorship experiences to be done. So we'll get through with what we've got till the end of the season, next season as well, and we'll try and put something in place that might help that with that respect. But the best match day experience you can get is winning, and we'll try and recreate that if we can.
Cheers, that's fine. Thanks.
Okay.